excited about that, let me tell you. But such is the nature of life. Tasha is running a little behind. She is putting something in the oven. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So, first, I'll give you guys a little more explanation about the message I sent everybody. There is a couple minor changes, schedule conflicts. There's a chance me and Tasha are going to have our kids on Sundays. And 3 kids is not necessarily the best situation for in the D&D. There may be a chance in 6-7 months we may have them alternating weeks, so that may be something we have to deal with. But in the short term, we have additional conflicts of picking them up and stuff like that, and it would start to interfere with D&D or giving you guys a dedicated time, as opposed to if in the future we get it goes to alternating weeks, it wouldn't be as big an issue because they would obviously already be here. The picking them up, and it's just starting to become or appearing to be a schedule conflict. So the 2 options were try to make it work, which would basically put me in a position of giving you guys half the attention if I was even here on time. If snowstorm or something like that happened last night, it would not. I don't give my players half a game. It's just it's not. If you're taking the time out of your lives to sit and play a game, I'm going to give you all of the effort and attention that a game deserves. So to do that, or to prevent the potential, I was investigating moving it to a Saturday. Everybody seemed able. Is there anybody who isn't able? Is there anybody who has an issue with timing or anything we need to consider?
The only question I have is this going to still be on the time that we normally have it, like around 3:15 in the afternoon Central Time, 4:15 Eastern?
I am perfectly fine with whatever time, so long as that time is later than, I'd say, 3 p.m. So Saturdays I work.
Okay.
I work. I work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a 15-minute drive home, and then I go back to work at midnight.
Yeah, so long as I make sure that I set up an alarm or something like that, I should be fine.
All right. So what about you? I know, Alex, you said that different times, or what do you think?
No, same time could still work, but yeah, if we wanted to do like 3:15, like just push it up an hour, that would be slightly better for me, but it doesn't matter too much.
Is there and we can work out the details if it works for everybody. The advantage would be that we could actually play a little longer if you guys wanted to. Even if we kept the time the same, we could probably play a little bit longer too. But I don't want to. I just wanted to verify that everybody was still okay if we needed to move it to Saturday.
Should be fine.
Yeah, I should be all right with it.
Yep.
All right. Let's move this around. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about their leveling up experience? Or any of the changes I made on your character sheets?
Nope.
Should be good here.
Well, last game, you guys managed to escape from Velkenvelye, and we will be... Tasha was sneezing. You guys escaped from Velkenvelye, and we will be starting this game as the first game, moving into the wilds of the Underdark. And I was going to give maybe a 2-minute explanation on how we're going to go over things, and then we were going to start if nobody had any questions, which it didn't seem like anybody did. So, general rule of thumb, the Underdark is basically broken up into various regions. It isn't like you may be traveling along a certain area, and it'll be something like, very few creatures are going to settle within a day of a drow outpost. They patrol, they kill things. So, for example, right outside of Velkenvelye was probably going to be something along the lines of Underdark Wilds, which is just stone tunnels, but you may come across an area that's controlled by, say, goblins. You may have, a goblin warren that's somewhere, and then they patrol for 5 or 6 miles in every direction out from there. So, depending on what is living in that region that you are passing through, the navigation DC, the foraging DC is going to be different. If you're passing through an area that has many wild animals, they've probably hunted the area pretty solidly. So you may have a little higher foraging DC if you are foraging. I know you guys have good berries. But, and then there's going to be, my ballpark estimate was, if you guys are traveling to Slubludab, which was the Kawatoan village that Shushar said that he could take you to, then I would estimate we're going to spend roughly 5 to 7 game sessions traveling between here and there, depending on how you guys do things. Could be, 3, could be more. So, just kind of what I'm looking at. May not be that much, but we'll see how you guys do it. And then we'll just pick everything up on the fly. If nobody has any concerns about that, the only thing I need is an explanation of Goodberry before we get going. How you guys plan to use it.
I think we said we were gonna use that for like. Who's gonna use that for like 5 of us, I believe. And I was gonna go ahead.
10.
Oh, good.
I can do
okay.
I can do like 10 berries.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
I think that we were just gonna do that just in case we couldn't find any food. But for the first couple of days, might be a good idea just to have them. Because you said that you might not be able to find any.
There are times, yes. The create destroy water spell, that water does not disappear. The Goodberry does. It doesn't disappear, it loses effect.
Now the good berry is basically like popping a pill, right? Like we just take it, eat it, and then you're good for the day.
Yeah, you take one and you're good. That's nourishment for the day.
So no point like holding on to it. Just like you make them, hand them out, we just pop them, and then get some water, and we're good to go.
They lose their magical effect if they're not eaten. So
yeah, if they're not eaten for 24 hours, they're gone after 24 hours.
But there's not even any point on just like pocketing it for a while, right? Like it's basically you make them, we eat them, and then we're good for 24 hours.
Essentially, yes.
All right.
Goodberry's a good spell. Okay, so as far as we covered last time, you guys cannot move at a fast pace. The best you can do is a normal pace unless you choose to use a light source, because one person in your party cannot see in the dark. Until that happens, or that is rectified, you are stuck at a normal or slow pace, or light. So, as you guys have, after you fled the horrors of slavery under the drow, and you have chosen to seek out instead the hard, unforgiving tunnels of the Underdark. It is definitely a harsh place. So you ran for a few hours before exhaustion and weariness took its toll, and you had to slow from a fast walk to a slow walk for the remainder of the day. And I gave you guys a few miles for that wild run before you passed out from exhaustion. As you wake after a long rest there, you guys, let me make sure I apply this long rest. I believe I already did, so it won't have any effect, but I just applied it again. So, I applied a long rest, and as you guys wake and start gathering the very few pieces of equipment you have, you're going to need to decide first if you're using a light source, because the tunnels that you are traveling through are solid stone no vegetation, and the light is pitch black. If you're not using a light source, I'm going to need to know your travel pace. And then we'll go from there.
So no light source, normal pace.
Yeah, sounds good here.
Yep, unless we think we need to risk the light source to go faster if we think we're being tailed, but obviously then the light source has its own risks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
You guys
good
can all
either way.
see, so I'm just blind. So
Don't worry, we'll be your
Blinded
eyes.
by the light.
you got a buddy, don't you?
yeah, I got
Yeah.
Kosjurkis on my shoulders.
Yeah, so
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So your destination, as far as I understand it, is the Dark Lake. And to bring back to the forefront of your mind the Underdark sketch that was drawn out for you by Sereth looked like this. Your position being marked here, and this circle here, it just got smaller, was the circle that they said was Slubludab, the Kalatoan village. The square off to the left is Gracklestug, and then further up you have Menzoberranzan and Blingdenstone, for what that's worth. So, looks like the closest you guys were going to head towards was Slubludab. Now, this is just a sketch, but it's what you were given. From there, you guys, I believe, were going to Slubludab. Is that accurate?
I believe so.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So, what are you doing for foraging? Are you foraging?
I will.
Okay. Now, just a reminder, if you're off foraging and something happens, there's a 50% chance you may not be with the party when it happens.
Okay.
Just a reminder, not a discouragement.
How far do I travel away from the party when I forage?
There isn't a definite answer to that question.
Okay.
It just you travel and you make a roll and then you try to find food. It's not going to be anything that affects mechanically. Either you're there or you're not.
Okay.
I mean, I can go too if you want.
Well, yeah, I suppose the more that I have help in regards to that, I assume I make like a wisdom or a survival roll, I should say.
Yes, you will make a survival roll. If you head off and you are foraging,
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward. The general rules of foraging are this. If you can only forage at a normal or slow pace. If you are off foraging, you make a survival. If you have, I mean, the DC depends on numerous factors. If you have more than one person, you can carry more than a certain amount of food. But each successful check, you get one a day, gets you 5 pounds of food, 5 gallons of water. If you fail, you get nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and I will forage. If anyone wants to come with me, speak now or forever hold your peace.
So if I go with him, can I give him bonus on his survival check?
Yes, I will let you give each other advantage using the help feature. So he would get advantage if there are 2 of you. That's the benefit. The consequence is there's a chance the party, if they get attacked, may be missing 2 people instead of 1. So it's whether that's worth it to you.
The alternative
be
is
fine.
we starve to death.
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, we do have good berries as backup, but I'd rather go ahead and make sure we get at least some sort of provisions first. So.
Definitely try to find water.
Definitely. Is it possible for me to look for Zekewood while I'm also looking for food and water?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I will be looking for those 3 things: food, water, and Zeekwood. So.
Okay.
Right.
Just a courtesy, it's Zerkwood.
Zerkwood. Okay, I apologize.
Okay, so you're sending 2 people off.
All right.
And together, which is going to be at advantage. Are you sending anybody else off, or is that it?
Agile smoke will be like kind of like our marching order states, like 30, 35 to 40 feet away from the group, always kind of scouting ahead, but off on a flank, depending on where Jim Jar and Sarah are.
We have
Sounds
other
good, yeah.
NPCs you can send to. Maybe Vito can help.
Yep.
Okay, so my understand, are you wanting to send NPCs also foraging, or you want to just use Goodberry plus these 2?
I mean, I'm good either way. So.
And foraging, we like that still means we can move at a normal pace, right?
Correct.
All right.
Times like
Okay.
this.
Well, let's start with Spirit or Ophelia, whichever one wants to, makes a survival check with a advantage, whoever makes it, whoever has the highest. And
I have a 0.
I have a +3. I'll make the roll.
okay. And navigation. Here's the beauty of it. So when you're navigating, it's the Underdark. It's interconnecting, interweaving tunnels, things of that nature. So you can definitely get lost. So when you're navigating, each day you're going to do a survival check for navigating. If you have somebody, which you do, such as Sarah, who is guiding you, it's going to be done with advantage. If you fail the check, for example, you're moving at a normal pace, which covers 6 miles a day. If you fail that check, I'm going to roll a d4. That's how many miles you lose on your progress for the day. So, as far as survival check of the people still here, is there anybody that you would like to do it, or I can give you the NPCs information? Sareth, Bupido. Let's see. Bupido he's not the one you want guiding. Jim Jar has a +2.
What about
Smokes.
Shushar?
Sareth has a 0, but he can give advantage with the guide. Shushar has a 0 as well.
Smoke is proficient in such things.
So
+4.
yeah, +4 at advantage is probably a much better setup.
Cool. So I'm gonna roll that now.
Yes.
All right. Very good.
Very nice. So, with all that, and it'll become much quicker as we move on. It'll just be same 2 checks and everybody will get used to it. I recommend you guys designating one person to be the person who keeps track of the food and water. I don't care if it's on your sheet or on a note, but I recommend you guys picking somebody. Probably I'd recommend Rolen just because you're relying on his magic.
Yeah, I was going to say I could do it.
So right now, track it in pounds of food, pounds of water. Okay. Looks like, Ben, if you're still here, you got disconnected.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't see the roll on my end, and it's not saying that I disconnected or anything. Let me go ahead and return to the launcher. And
The roll was a 19, by the way. It's a good
nice.
roll. Okay, so go ahead.
I know I rolled the 19 myself, so I didn't know if he got the same thing or not. So
He got a 21.
Okay.
So, as you guys get up and you gather your stuff, you begin your travels for the day, and you're starting to come to grips with the reality that you find yourselves in. Miles underground, far from the surface. Tunnels are very confusing. The tunnels you're traveling in are pitch black. They're made of hard stone, and traveling in the Underdark is very rarely straight. if you're trying to head towards the Dark Lake, you have numerous tunnels that branch off to the side, and sometimes those tunnels navigate around and then rejoin the tunnel further ahead. Sometimes you pass those side tunnels up, and then you walk a couple hundred to 1,000 feet before they come to a dead end. You have to backtrack and then take that side tunnel. There are times when you have chutes where you have to climb up 50, 60 feet or down 50, 60 feet before you can find a tunnel that continues in the correct direction. It's never a straightforward travel. As you do travel, after a short distance, about half the day, you've traveled roughly 2 miles approximately before Ophelia and Spirit rejoin you. The reason why you can you can only forage at a normal or a slow pace is because the other person is traveling at one step faster, and fast is the fastest. So they were traveling at a fast pace looking for food, were able to gather food, and then return to you. That's why at a fast pace, they just can't travel side and detour and still keep up with it. On the upside, you guys travel off to the side, and almost immediately you guys stumble upon an underground creek, and you are able to gather some water using actual mushrooms, and you guys have to kind of hollow them out. You don't find any Zerkwood today, but you do find a couple just regular mushrooms and hollow them out and like use them as carry containers. As far as food, what you're looking at that you've found to eat is a fungus that Sereth and Shushar and Jimjar all told you about, called ripple bark. Ripple bark grows off of the side of the walls, and it's like a shelf, like just a small shelf, and it resembles, and it's very distinct, and they told you about it, and you noticed it right away when you found it, Ophelia and Spirit, because it resembles, when you see it, rotting flesh, like sloughing off. And it doesn't have a awful smell, but it has an appearance of rotting flesh, probably some trait evolved to not be eaten. But it's very edible. It can be eaten raw, but it can also be roasted. So as a general rule of thumb, I've taken out the rolls. I don't see Agile on. Yeah, I don't see Agile either.
Yeah, I didn't know if my message went through.
No.
Came
but
out.
But your character isn't up, is what I don't see your character either.
Yeah, because I went ahead and I logged out because I noticed there's an update available. I'm logging back in right now, so I should be joining back in here shortly.
So yeah, weird. Yeah, everything was good for me. I mean, my character sheet just disappeared. But other than that,
do you have your character sheet up, or do you have your character activated in the server? Do you have his picture at the top?
No, I don't. I got my character sheet was here, and I was seeing all the roles and everything, but it just disappeared.
Try opening the button on the right that says PC and double click it.
PC.
There we go.
Yep. Cool. No worries.
And let me take DM ownership of the potion and effects. So, if you would be so kind, Rolen, is to track or add 5 pounds of food and 5 gallons of water. Okay. Ripple bark, that rotting flesh looking. Although it seems weird, Jimjar and Shushar and Sereth all assure you that once it's roasted, it's actually pretty edible. It's not awful. You guys managed to carve off with Ophelia's dagger 5 pounds of it before you rejoin. After about a mile, 2 hours. After you do rejoin, you guys do continue to travel, and as you are traveling, Shushar goes person to person, and he is attempting to teach you guys something he calls bellows breath. It's an exhalation, inhalation, meditation techniques where you take 5 sharp intakes of breath, followed by 1 long exhalation. He assures you that if you practice this, it will calm your heart and steady your hands and allow you to keep your anxiety and your nerves under control in the Underdark. Stool does his very best to stay as close to Agile Wind as he can. What were you going to say? Heard somebody start to talk.
I was just about to say, as a monk, that sounds like a very useful technique. I'll probably go ahead and listen very attentively to that.
He tries to teach everybody.
Yeah.
But Stool tries to stay close to Agile Wind, and he expresses to you guys, or to you, Agile specifically, how terrified he is through these rapport spores, and he also expresses a desire to return to his home, a home he calls Neverlight Grove. He says it's quite a distance to the north and west, but he really, really, really wants to travel home instead of be here, for that matter. But
Agile will say to him like, "Well, yes, my friend. I shall get you home, but of course we must first get to safety, and then find a means of getting you there without fear of drow chasing us."
he understands. He's more just expressing his fear, and the drow in general scare the hell out of him. He doesn't have really any ability to protect himself. Is what it is. As you guys move into about midday, you see a large chasm ahead. And check your timer, babe. I think I'm starting to smell the stuff in the oven. I don't want it to get burned or anything.
I'll go check it. Okay.
I'm sure it's fine. I just didn't. Better to be safe than sorry.
True.
All right. So, as you guys are moving, you come across about the midpoint of the day, slightly after the midpoint, a large chasm. And the chasm has a rope bridge strung across it. It's maybe 70 feet across and about 200 feet down. It's an old rope bridge. The planks are made of hardened zirkwood, and the strings are made of spider silk. The chamber is very eerie in that manner, but that's where you guys find yourselves.
Would you consider this a ruin or a dungeon?
I would not.
All right.
It's a bridge.
Hey, you never know.
Sounds like a fancy bridge.
It looks fancy.
Well, I'm going based on hearing. Smells fancy. Sorry.
I was about to say, seeing the spider web kind of reminds me of something. Whatever happened to your little spider friend?
He still has it. If he wants to play with his spider friend, he may.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we left that behind or not.
Well, I mean, he can. He can let him go anytime he wants.
Let's say, aside from the zirk wood and the spider webs, do I see anything in particular that looks out of the ordinary?
If you're going to be actively searching, I will need you to do an active perception check.
Just did.
Didn't see that. So yes, actually you do. About 40 feet down the chasm, you notice some unusual looking mushrooms growing off of the side of the wall closest to you. And from this distance, they look long and pink, maybe 3 inches long.
Do they
How
look
many
edible?
inches pink?
Let's say 2.5 pink. You know,
Okay.
'cause pink can be multiple different inches.
Do they look edible?
Just to start. I mean, from this distance, you're not positive, but they don't look inedible.
Did any of the NPCs know what they are?
Not from this distance.
I'm very afraid of these things.
Yeah, and like with my perception roll as well, is there any other way across other than the bridge?
Not as far as you can see.
And
I mean,
does there appear to be any life or anything moving around?
Not as far as you can see. You don't detect any sign of anything living.
Okay, well, I'll gingerly step out onto the bridge, and I'll test it with my weight, see if it supports me.
It seems emotionally supportive, and it is also physically supporting you. You don't fall to your death from that point. It seems pretty stable, to be honest.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll venture forward and I'll start crossing the bridge.
Okay. So you start making your way across. You don't have anything that stops you, for that matter. You make it a pretty good way. The bridge gets a little shaky, but other than that, you make it all the way across without a single incident.
I say, turn back and like, looks good, boys!
How far is the bridge? Like how far across?
About 80 feet.
Okay. When Indomitable yells that back, does anything seem to move or have any reaction throughout the cavern?
It doesn't appear that you can see anything. Nothing that you're aware of has a reaction. How about that?
All right, Agile will go next, I guess, but try to be stealthy going across.
Might not be a bad idea.
A little late.
Well, you know what they say, hindsight's 20/20.
Hey, doesn't mean they have to know I'm here, you know?
So you get across, no issue. Stool stays with you.
Alright. Kosjurkis will steer Rolen across the bridge.
Okay.
Away we
Rolen walks slowly, wanting to avoid falling to his death, guided by his plucky kobold friend. He does make it across without any issue. A couple stumbles here or there. Thank you, my love. And everybody so far makes it as far. There doesn't seem to be any issues. As if you guys are happy with everybody just crossing, that's perfectly fine with me. Or if you guys want to take it person by person, it won't hurt my feelings. Did you have a preference?
I don't.
Nope.
Yeah, no worries. Kick him across.
Well, if everybody gets across okay, with his dagger, Agile Smoke's going to start trying to cut the lines so that the bridge falls.
Okay. So you cut the lines, and the bridge does fall. Clatters down and makes a little bit of noise as it smacks, but nothing too awful. There we go. I'm going to load this up real quick. You might have a little bit of lag. You shouldn't have much. And it very clearly becomes evident that anybody wanting to cross behind you is going to have some issues.
Hooray.
Huzzah.
And you guys continue to travel for the remainder of the day, with Shushar doing his best, and he definitely spends a lot more time talking to you, Spirit, after you rejoin the party. He is interested in exchanging meditation techniques, and he does still want to teach the rest of the party just some techniques to help everybody stay focused and not stressed at the nature of you guys traveling.
I say I'll gladly trade meditation techniques with them as much as I can possibly share with them.
Sounds good to me. So, you guys successfully travel 6 miles towards your goal, and you guys find yourselves pretty happy with your first day of travels. Now, how are you guys going to divide up the food? At the end of the day, you haven't used your spells. You guys are pretty good. You weren't attacked. You've traveled. And if you ever desire for clarity, you can travel more than 8 hours, but there are consequences for it. You start to have to make saving throws, and if you fail them, you start picking up levels of exhaustion. And that can get pretty hairy pretty quick. So, assuming, I'm going to work off the assumption that you guys are going to stop at 8 hours because that's what most people do. And when you do, I'm going to figure out how you do food. So what is your intention as far as food? Are you going to eat the 6 pounds, or what are you doing? Or 5 pounds of food you have? How's that breaking up?
Well, we really only need half a ration's worth.
And all of our our companions who seem to know something about this food, how long do they figure it would last for?
It
to
depends.
spoil?
Working through the fungus will probably last for 1 or 2 weeks. Meat is probably not the best thing to carry because it doesn't last long.
But fungus will last a while. So maybe we should do the good berries today, because we have the spell slot to use, right?
Yep.
And hold on to the fungus for a day when perhaps we can't make good berries, right?
Makes
Sure.
sense.
Sounds good to
how
me.
much water do we need for everybody?
It's a good question. You need a gallon each, but there's a couple different ways to go about it. The official answer in the book is that you need 1 gallon of water per day because it's not hot. You can drink half that much, but you have to do a Constitution saving throw. You can the best rule of thumb is that you can make food last by not eating or eating half rations, but water is something you have to have because of just the physical exertion you guys are going through right now is just very high. You have to have food.
Okay. Well,
Water.
Well, since we've traveled for 8 hours now, we're just basically making camp, right?
Yes.
So I can cast Goodberry and create and destroy water and still have a spell slot left.
Correct.
So then
and that's why I kind of
of
wait towards the end of the day to have you guys work this out.
Yeah. So I'll do that. Cast both of those, and then so we'll have 15 gallons of water. That's enough for a gallon each.
Sounds good to me. So the rest of the food you can absolutely save and deal with the rest of it as you would. As you guys, you can save that, and that'll last you a while. I'll tell you if food starts spoiling. Until then, I'm going to just kind of let you guys decide what you use, and we're going to assume the food isn't spoiling until it spoils. Okay.
Now, while the group's like setting up camp and getting the food and water situation all sorted out, Agile would like to do, never losing sight of the group, but moving 60 feet. Like I'm assuming it's a tunnel, so we got a way behind us and a way in front of us.
You do.
So 60 feet ahead of us, quietly just looking, trying to see if there's any tracks, if there's anything around that may not especially be friendly to us. And the same thing going 60 feet behind us and just making sure, like, I'm not perceiving any danger either direction.
Okay. So you do that, and you don't see anything. The tunnels are devoid of all life as far as you can tell.
Right, okay. And along those lines, there's no, like, ruins or dungeons or anything, like, that would hold legendary items.
Not that you have seen, but if you do, I will make sure to let you know.
All right.
That I promise.
All right.
Okay, so I'll apply a long rest just for posterity's sake. But you guys managed to travel your first day at a normal pace and acquire food, so could be definitely worse. So Sareth makes a point to mention over the evening that it is pretty positive at this point that there's probably a search party out for us.
Gotta start covering the tracks.
I was wondering if somebody was going to remember that. I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah.
If you do desire, it's a survival check.
How about when I go back I'll go back even farther than 60 feet if I feel like I can do so, and just try and like cover up tracks and mislead and.
Okay, give me a survival check. We'll see how you do.
Does anybody want to help me, or?
I can help you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yowza.
The dice are giveth today. So yes, you are absolutely able to reduce your path sight. So you give some misleading, have Ophelia walk in some direction that you didn't go. Just keeping my notes here. So at this point, you guys are doing a good job. You are pretty solid. And you wake up. One thing you do notice as you start to wake up is that there is some more fungus starting to grow around. And Sareth tells you that he believes the tunnels ahead will be lighted. He says that he's done some patrols around here. And the tunnels ahead will probably be lighted by lichen. There's a lot of underground moisture in this area, and last time he was here, the lichen and phosphorescent fungus lit the area that somebody like Rolen could probably travel without a guide this time through these tunnels. So if you had a desire to pick your pace up or not, you could.
The further we get away from the pursuing drow, the better.
But then we can't forage for anything.
Oh, that's
well,
true.
we can, but it's just a disadvantage.
Is it possible to forge before we disembark?
Foraging is a multi-hour process.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
So, as before, I need to know if you're going to carry any light source, which I'm not saying you are, just standard question, then travel pace and foraging information. We'll go from there.
Well, we could kick it up and then just risk it, because we do have some food stored up now, right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we need to forge every day.
But
Well,
what's the worst that could happen if we fail to forge? We just don't get food.
or water.
Well, we've got the good bear and the create food and water for one of the spell slots, assuming that we don't run into any problems.
Exactly.
And there's another downside to going fast, is that we also lose we also lose out on perception. We're at like half on that or something like that.
Your passive perception takes a -5 hit.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't really afford to go in circles.
Alright, normal pace it is.
Is anybody going foraging?
I will, but specifically in search for Zerkwood.
So you're not going in search for food?
No.
Okay. Okay, is anybody going foraging for food?
So when you say foraging, like, how far are there little tunnels that people could be going down in different directions and whatnot?
As you travel, you pass multiple tunnels. Chutes going down, chutes going up, tunnels going to your left, your right. They forks and numerous splitting, and that's what having a guide is helpful for, because it gives you advantage. If you fail your navigation roll, you take a bad tunnel and you lose time. For sending people out foraging is basically spending and maybe stopping for an hour or slowing down a little bit, or them speeding up a little bit, depending on, it doesn't nail you down to how you do it, but they take a side passage and then come back if they find food and then catch up with the party, is the gist of it.
It's a mechanic that probably makes more sense if you're in like a forest or something like that.
It does and
rather
it
than
doesn't.
Random tunnels.
Well, it does and it doesn't. There are multiple ways to go about it. Some of the ones that are explained is, for example, the party is traveling, they send foragers off, and then they mark their progress by dropping, pebbles, and then people foraging come back to the original meeting point, moving at a faster pace, but pick up the pebbles. So when they catch up, they've been out foraging on separate tunnels, but they've left markers, and then they've also been picked up.
Right.
So that's an example of how it would be done, but it doesn't nail you guys down to it. It just allows you to make the roll and get the advantage.
Okay. And,
go ahead. Yep.
So are before I decide whether or not I want to go foraging, are we able to tell that the tunnels ahead will be lighted?
Yes. So moving forward, it may be not just a half mile. They are lit, but slightly in contrast to what Mr. Sarah said, they're not actually lit by lichen or lichen, depending on how you pronounce it. They're lit by Pharazes. So for those of you does everyone know about Pharazes? I'm guessing everybody doesn't, but I want to ask before I launch into an explanation.
I do not.
Nope.
Okay, so Pharazes is the reason why many things are different in the Underdark. The Underdark is closer to the center of the planet being a fantasy planet. Because of that, certain areas of the Underdark are permeated by this magical essence that is more personified in these areas than in others. An area that is suffused with Pharazes will have light with no specific source of it, just a natural light coming from the air. It also has other effects, and this is something that Sereth, Shushar, Jimjar, all of them are very, very familiar with, because Pharazes is a natural part of the Underdark. There are parts, it's just areas. They move around. This area may be suffused with Pharazes today, and it may not tomorrow. The gist of it is that it is where magic, or the essence of magic, breaks through or even leaks through the barrier between realities, and then it is in this area. Consequences are multifold. If there are places where it is permanent, for example, Menzo Baranzan, one of the largest cities of the Drow, is a huge cavern that is the source of a permanent source of Pharazes, and they use that to enhance their magic. When they craft weapons, they imbue their weapons with Pharazes, which is why Drow weapons are almost innately magical. Even though they don't have the +1 to hit, +1 to damage, they overcome damage resistance for demons and werewolves and etc., 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 because they are suffused with this natural, raw, magical energy. Some of the other effects are when you cast a spell, if you're skilled at harnessing Pharazes, you can use that to raise the level of your spell without expending a higher level spell slot. The other side of that coin is that when you cast a spell and you are not experienced, or if you're in an area where the Pharazes is stronger than normal or weaker than normal because it is naturally chaotic, it can cause your spells to do something you don't intend them to do. It can cause your spells to do something good, something bad, or it can cause a random magical effect that you are not anticipating.
So
typically, the last thing I'll say is typically these random magical effects don't just randomly occur. They occur when someone is activating magic.
So this is basically like a wild, natural version of wild magic, effectively.
That's one way to put it, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Agile's going to have to go foraging as well, but and I'll change the roll I'll do a double roll, whatever you'll let me do. But along with the foraging, he's looking for any ruins or any structures anywhere where civilization is or used to be.
Okay. So you're going off foraging, and
Kosjurkis will go foraging as well.
Outstanding.
I have no guide.
Yeah, but it's bright. You can see. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, okay.
Unblinded by the light. All right. So as far as I understand, I'm moving a couple things around on my end real quick, just finishing them up. So we have on day 2, as far as foraging, Spirit is going for Zerkwood, and Agile for ruins, and Kosjurkis, hope I spelled that right, I believe I did, for food.
Yep.
Everybody else is staying with the party.
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's get some survival rolls. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So, Kosjurkis, you find 5 pounds of food and 5 gallons of water.
Woo.
Very hard to carry back.
Yes, it's pretty much that's like half his weight.
Yes, it is.
Just dragging his burlap sack behind him.
Indomitable Spirit, you do find a Zerkwood mushroom. It is a small one. I'm guessing you're wanting to try and chop some of it off?
Yes.
How much?
Enough to, if I can make is that enough to make like a weapon out of?
I'll let you know when I see the result of your nature check.
Alright, where is, that would be, oh.
No, sir. No, it is not enough, and it's not of high enough quality after you separate it from the Zerkwood mushroom to make a staff, but it is enough for you to make some type of club.
Well, I'll take what I can get.
The dice giveth and the dice taketh away, my friend.
Yeah.
I will add a club to the sheet for you, though. And
I suppose any weapon is better than no weapon.
there is your club. And as far as ruins, a fantastic roll, and you search and you search and you search, and you do not find any remnants of any ruins.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear to be any civilization in this area. So what I would like secondarily, if you would be so kind, is a percentage roll. How you do that is you look at, right-click on the D10, go to the percentage symbol, and each of you roll me a percentage.
Oh god.
Oh, good.
Oh, 4.
Oh hell yeah, bro. Don't worry. I've been playing Call of Cthulhu. Low rolls are better. Trust me on this.
All right. So let me do this. So back at the main party, you guys are traveling. I'm going to need a navigation check. And with Agile Smoke, Indomitable Spirit, and Kosjurkis off looking to their own interests, we have Ophelia. Looks like she's got, I don't know what hers is, and Rolen. So Ophelia and Rolen, you might want to check your skills tab, see what you got for survival, because you can see now.
I have a +3, so I can.
0.
That's with advantage.
Yes, you will have it with advantage because Sereth is still with you, not off foraging.
Woo!
There you go.
Outstanding. Natural 20. With the natural 20, I'm actually going to give you guys a little extra distance this day. So far you've moved, bump that up to there. So you find, let me make sure I keep my notes consistent here. Let's see. What was that, 23?
Yep.
All right. So with this, you guys are traveling. They're out searching for some unusual things. So it is, 1 second.
I almost thought that was the beginning of For Release there.
Yeah, I thought so.
You get some classical music all up in this joint.
Don't be jealous. Little fur release never hurt anybody. I used to love that song when I was young. All right, that is fixed
Used
there.
to love that song.
I still do. I just don't listen to it very much. All right. So as you guys are traveling on your second day, those three are off for quite a while. Some of those checks are a little bit. Bupito, now that Rolen can see, spends his day asking Rolen about his homeland.
I'm from the island of Evergreen. Or Evermeet, sorry.
He asks you, what is there? Is there anything?
It's basically run by elves, and they kicked us furbolgs out because we are not elves.
He said, were you He said in Gracklestug, for centuries, the Dwergar enslaved my people, the Darrow. We have recently, in the last couple decades, been freed, but we are still a subservient class of people. Is it similar? Are you a subservient class of people?
No, we were secluded, and then I basically abandoned, not so abandoned, but left my people and just searched and wandered the land.
He says, perhaps I will show you Gracklestug sometime. It is the heart of blacksmithing and forging in the Underdark. It is on the shore of the Dark Lake. He says, it has many mysteries, but one of the most impressive facts is that it is an underground city that has a dragon citizen. A red dragon citizen. And has for its entire existence. It's not always the same dragon, but he manages and keeps our forges burning at a heat high enough to work metals like adamantium.
That sounds amazing. I would love to see this place.
He says we will have to make that happen.
Yes, we will.
Let's see here. We will take this. So, with that being said, as the party is traveling, what I'm going to need now is I'm going to need a dexterity save from everyone. I am going to roll a dexterity save because I can't actually pull that off, so I'm going to do it a different way. Yeah, go ahead and roll a dexterity save.
Shit.
Even people not with the party right now?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it, but it'll a couple other things. All right.
The dice taketh away.
You know, they can only do so much. You can't win them all.
I can.
I went from a natural 20 to a natural 1.
You know? All right, let me get all of the creatures up here. And last but not least, Sareth here. All the NPCs. So, as you guys are traveling, you notice at last minute an area above you gives way as numerous rocks fall from above. And let's go down the list and check where do the DC is 12. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to save me time, let me know who failed.
I failed.
Kosjurkis, Rolen, and Ophelia didn't. They didn't make it, boys.
Let's see. Sareth, yes. Bupito failed. He's standing next to Rolen. Stool made his. Jim Jar, Sareth. Ophelia, looks like you didn't quite make yours. On the upside, Kosjurkis, you aren't there.
Oh, true.
So, I had everybody roll anyways.
That's plus.
So, Ophelia, you're a little bit ahead as you guys are moving. And I am loading the map in now, so it'll be just a second while it finishes. For those of you who did not make it, you'll probably notice you took some damage. You took 8 damage from the falling debris as it fell. Now,
what can I use my rolly thing?
you can. Favorite of the gods, you just roll right click on the D4 and roll 2 of them. 9 and 7 put you well above, so I'll erase your damage if you will do me a favor and mark off favored of the gods on your sheet. And we will... It should be under your action tabs. There's a couple things there, so take your time.
So what, like a rock was gonna like hit you and then like it just didn't? Or like
Yes. That is a good answer. A rock was going to hit her, and at the last minute, even though she initially stumbled, she seemed to move with a sprint that you wouldn't have anticipated, and she jumped out of the way as the rock came down.
Isn't that
Favored
handy?
of the god.
I prefer the mental image of the rock just tumbling down toward her, halting in midair, moving off 5 feet to the left, and then just dropping the rest of the way.
You know, whatever image helps. So, those of you who were hit took 8 damage, and you are incapacitated. You are buried under rubble. I'm going to have you roll initiative. You are not in combat, but there is going to be a... Actually, does anybody... Let me see. How can I do this? How can I move these guys? Roll. There we go. They have a button for it. You guys can roll your initiatives if you don't mind. Even if you're not here, it'll just make it a little easier for me to track. And we will mark this as rubble. So, if you are trapped under the rubble, everybody's going to be able to react at the same time. With the rubble, after it has fallen on top of you, as enjoyable as that sounds, it's actually still pressing down on you. So the rocks themselves, if you are not moved out of the way or dug out, you're going to take 1d6 damage at the end of your turn. So, does anybody, let's see, Spirit and, I'm going to share the map, Spirit and Agile, you guys are not on the map for a reason, because you're not here yet. Let me just stick you guys here at the bottom. That'll make it easier. You'll come in on round 2. So, Stool rushes up, and he is going to attempt, through an athletics check, to dig out. Let me close these here. I forgot that I actually built full sheets for these guys. It took a little time, but I built full sheets so I didn't have to rely on that. So an athletics check is, he puts out a 9, and that is insufficient. Ophelia, you managed to, by the favorite of the gods, dodge, but those two are trapped. They were walking side by side, having a conversation, and caught a chest full of stone. You see the little mushroom trying to dig him out.
Can I help dig them out?
You can. You can do an athletics check. You can move over there and then use your action to do an athletics check. The rocks are heavy, unfortunately.
I'm trying.
You know, being favored by the gods, it takes it out of you. So, in true fashion of the Underdark, when it does rain, it does not just rain. It pours. And...
Oh, nice.
Strange-looking creature comes crawling down the side of that pillar there, and it has snapping jaws, numerous legs. It seems like a cross between an insect and like a cephalopod, like a millipede, something like that. It has a snapping, multi-circular rows of teeth, and more and importantly and most deadly, there are tentacles that are reaching off of the front of its face, and it is smelling them, and it takes a look, and it is crawling down. Its movement is 30, and it is 20 feet up. So from here, he's able to move to this location on his turn. On his next turn, for his action, he reaches out with his tentacles and attacks Bupido, since he is the closest.
All right, goodbye, Bupido.
Bupido!
Oh,
And
no.
Bupido is dying.
You were a good friend.
He's going down. So the carrion crawler wraps its tentacles around Bupido and starts yanking him out of the rubble. He's going to have to do an athletics check to get him free. You'll get a turn next round. Rolen, you are incapacitated. If you want to do, let me apply that, and then you can do an athletics check to try to get out. I'm sorry, not incapacitated, restrained.
Okay. I was about to say.
I'll fix that incapacitated. I just said the wrong. There you go. So if you want to do an athletics check, it will be at disadvantage automatically.
Yeah.
And you can
I
try and get
hear
out.
kind of what's going on? So can I like hear like somebody screaming about that worm or something?
You can, and the carrion crawler is definitely trying to get him a Bupido sandwich.
All right, so I can kind of hear that, so I'm just gonna be like, okay, there's danger. I'm gonna wild shape into a tiger.
Power.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Love the idea of Spirit and them come running back. No, and it's a tiger. Kill it! Kill it! All right.
Don't do that.
So let's put Rolen the tiger on here. What's your initiative? 10? We'll bump the tiger up to you. We'll put you at -99. And if you, once I put it on the map, you can just double click on the token to get the sheet. So is shapeshifting a bonus action for you, right?
Yeah.
So you're still going to need to do an athletics check.
Yeah, but I get +3 to it now because I use the tiger strength.
That is correct. And I actually have tiger sound effects for you. Hold this up.
Nice.
All right, so you pull yourself out, shaking off the rubble. Now that's your action.
Yep. So then, okay, so I'll just move up then, I guess.
All right, so one of the things you'll notice is you can't skip the turn of an NPC. Bupido has a death save. Failure. Shushar, seeing his friends doing their best, he isn't exactly sure what the best choice here is, but he's going to try to get up here and attack this carrion crawler so it will stop dragging off Bupido. So he runs up and he bites at the carrion crawler, takes a bite out of him, the rubbery flesh of the carrion crawler. It looks like Jim Jar didn't get placed on there. He was supposed to. Oh yeah, he did. He's up top. Agile Smoke, you'll come in next round. Jim Jar, who was scouting ahead, makes his way back. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't actually have any weapons, nor does he have the ability to get there and attack, but he takes off running, Sareth, he's making his way over. He's not gonna like throw his dagger quite yet, but he's not betraying anybody. Let's move you down to the bottom too. All right, so you guys come towards the bottom, and Stool isn't sure what to do, but he is definitely willing to fight. He goes bipedal running over there on his four legs and tries to punch at the creature and misses. Ophelia, Rolen is no longer buried because he apparently shapeshifted into a tiger. That's normal, everyday stuff. And Bupito has been killed, or at least knocked unconscious and bleeding to death, and the carrion crawler has numerous tentacles wrapped around him, and it is dragging him off. It looks like it's gonna eat his ass.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Possibly the rest of him as well.
Oh shit.
That was funny, fuck y'all.
I get it.
I laughed. My mic was just muted.
So, okay. So can I do guiding bolt and hit it?
You can. I know magic's still new, so for guiding bolt, you should have, first thing you have is, you kind of read it like a book left to right, like that dice is first on the left. You want to drag that, drop it on the creature, or target him and click it, either one. I like the drag option, but that's just me. So if it hits, you do the damage. And then you drag the effect. The effect will make it so the next person that attacks it gets advantage.
And
Fuck
then
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
can I healing hands Bopito?
Unfortunately not. And this is the first, after you cast a spell, make sure you go up to the top and click off a spell slot. And I misunderstood your question. I thought you, healing hands, I have to read. If you click over to the right and click the brown button for healing hands, it'll say as an action. So unfortunately you used your action to cast Guiding Bolt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let me turn down that tiger growl. He's fucking rolling, has no volume control.
I get pretty wild in wild shape.
I mean, you can move a little more if you want to, Ophelia, but that was a hell of a hit. Not to mention getting advantage.
Yeah, I'm not moving.
Okay, and then when you're done, you just skip your turn. And the carrion crawler lets go of Bupito. And the carrion crawler is not the smartest creature in the world, but it is not a hard jump to figure out which one's the scurriest. So, Mr. Tiger, you're a threat to him, and he knows it.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
So he turns, and first thing he does is he shoots out his tentacles. So I want you to get a good visualization of this, because you're in the Underdark, and atmosphere is everything. So as far as these tentacles, it's not a matter of them just touching you. They pull them back, almost like a spring-loaded jabbing appendage, and it shoots all of them forward, or at least some of them, and they're trying to protrude your skin. So when he's doing this, he pulls his face tentacles back and he shoots them forward for a natural one and overbalances, and everybody and their mother decides it's time to get an attack of opportunity in there.
Hell yeah. Fuck him up.
Oh shit.
Well, like, that's unnecessary.
Take
I'd like to point out that 4 people got an attack, and you just had to get in there first, so you got that advantage.
Well, yeah.
Fucking it.
That's how it goes.
Advantage thieving bastard. So Shushar tries to bite and misses, but Jim Jar unfortunately for him, he can do nothing but punch the thing. But he does punch it for his 1 point of damage. And Shushar, last but not least, little stool. He's going to try and punch too. He wants to pummel it. He should have advantage, so I'll just roll that again because he got a 2 and a double miss. So the carrion crawler takes a severe slash from a tiger. What did you do for that? 13 points of damage. And the carrion crawler tries to bite the tiger and misses. And then the carrion crawler's not a super smart creature, but even it knows when it's getting its ass beat. And it uses its climb speed to climb up the tunnel 30 feet. So I'm going to move him over here, but he is 30 feet in the air. Indomitable Spirit, you come back onto the party and hear the rock fall and then come charging up as they are under attack by a carrion crawler, which is climbing up the wall.
Well, at least I run up. Geez, and I don't have any ranged attacks. I suppose I could probably try throwing my club at it, but I get the feeling that's not exactly going to be very useful. I've already moved my full movement at this point, haven't I? I guess I'll just end my turn here.
So yeah, you guys are at a loss of ranged weapons, but as far as the tiger,
I don't have a climb speed, but I can try.
you can try. You can give it a shot. Let's see what that athletics gives you. By the way, this tiger is modified for your wild shape.
Oh, okay.
You give it a shot. If you look on the tiger's sheet,
I can just drag that?
Do you see strength and then CS? C's for check, S is for save.
Okay.
And if it's a specific skill that it has under skills, you can put your mouse over it, like animal handling, and it should get like a white box. You just drag or double click.
Yeah, okay.
But just so you know, that's how you're going to interact with these.
Okay.
And you climb up 15 feet.
Okay.
Rolen is making
Is it half my movement?
Half your movement, yes.
Oh, that'd be 20 then, because they have 40.
Then you are up 20 feet, and Bupido manages to get a saving throw success on his death save. Shushar does not have any. Let me delete this attack. I'll just leave it on there for now. He does not have any ability to attack. And he is going to try, let me change his direction here. He's going to try to move over here and use a medicine check to stabilize Bupido, which for him is just a wisdom saving throw. Or a wisdom check. And he rolls a 13 and stabilizes Bupido. So Bupido is no longer bleeding to death, but he doesn't get back up. Agile Smoke, same thing for you.
Yep. 30 feet there. 5 feet. First time using a thrown weapon. Yeah, it's 20 to 60 feet. So if I'm throwing right now, would that be at disadvantage?
Yes. If it's more than 20 feet, it's at disadvantage. 60 feet's the max.
Nah. All right, then he's gonna I'll dash another 30 feet or 25 feet over here, and bonus action hide if I can. Pressed up against the wall.
He's on the other side, so you have effectively broken line of sight. That pillar's all the way up.
Cool.
Fancy bitch. Oh, I hit the wrong button. My apologies. Jim Jar can't really do anything, so he kind of backs up. He doesn't have any weapons that allow him to attack it. Sereth is unwilling to lose his only weapon, throwing it randomly at the carrion crawler. And what he does say is, if you leave it alone, it will run away. It will not come back after us if we continue on. Stool is not brave enough to do anything from there. The carrion crawler is very clearly in retreat. Especially with this big ass tiger.
If it's on its way, there's no reason to harm it. So I'm not gonna continue to hurt it.
Okay. If you wanted to do any healing, you could, but you don't need to. Because he's been stabilized.
Okay.
So carrion crawler uses double move, runs up the rest of the way, runs across the ceiling, upside down, and then into a crack in the wall.
All right. I guess I'll just climb back down then. But I'll stay in tiger form for like an hour.
Alrighty. So, for the record, the carrion crawler has, if he touches you with his tentacles and hits, you can be paralyzed. That was a series of very good rolls that saved you guys from those, but they can be very, very awful. On the upside, this rubble has scattered dust all over this area, so there aren't much in the way of footprints or indications that you guys have passed this way. So for all intents and purposes, it's acting as if to cover your trail.
A blessing in disguise.
Well, I suppose it depends on what you think of Bupito. Bupito doesn't agree, but he's unconscious too. All right, so that's towards a rough little attack on the day. So in reaction to, it was just a second ago, just a split second after, what are you guys wanting to do in terms of Bupito? He is not bleeding to death, but you guys can't continue on.
How big is he? Like, how heavy is he?
I mean, he's a probably a good 100, 150 pounds.
Strap him to my back.
I was just about to say, I'll just like hoist him up and just kind of sling him over my shoulder.
Okay.
Assuming how heavy he is, I'll carry him.
I can carry him until I turn back, and then I'll heal him.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so you got about another hour-ish to go. You guys have been making really good time. You found a shortcut with a natural 20 on your navigation check. So you actually gained a couple miles more than you should have on this day, than you would have on the standard path. So you travel about an hour, and you guys are about at the end of your travel day. Add 5 pounds of food and 5 gallons of water to your food repertoire.
That's from Kosjurkis?
That is.
Okay.
And you guys bed down for the night. As far as Bupito, you said you were going to heal him. You don't really need to mark off the spell.
No. Because
you're going to get it back. But an interesting thing, when you cast the spell, it automatically heals him for maximum. So there's no roll. Whatever your roll would have been, it heals him to maximum, closing all of his wounds. And you begin to glow at first faintly, and then it just explodes in a bright light 30 feet around you. Any creature within 5 feet of you is blinded for a couple seconds. and you emit this light for just a good 60 seconds, and you're just like, and I'm not talking like torchlight, I'm talking like spotlight in the face, bright as hell. Probably anybody looking down the tunnel would be able to see you. And after a minute, it just fades.
The heck was that?
Agile immediately is heading like backwards down the tunnel some ways just to make sure that there's nothing immediately coming up upon us.
Okay. There's nothing that you can see coming up upon you.
And they can hear?
I'm saying,
Is there anything I can hear?
no. There's nothing you hear. There's nothing you're aware of. The light eventually fades. And you guys bed down for the night. Is there anything the party wants to talk about or discuss?
I just take sort of, what's the term? I just kind of look over the party and just ask, like, who here does not have a weapon?
Hi.
Kosjurkis raises his hand.
Jimjar. Shushar bites, and Stool has his own attack, but Bupido and Jimjar do not have weapons.
Okay.
I do not necessarily require a weapon at this time.
Yeah, no shit.
Let's see. The only reason I ask is because I crafted a club. I just want to make sure that we got everybody armed and ready for whatever we got. I don't know how much it's going to be useful, but I figure any weapon is better than no weapon. Whoever wants it, can have it.
I do have 2 daggers. If anybody wants a dagger, or I can give both of them away.
Jimjar would be better with a dagger than a club because he could use his skill and hand dexterity with it.
Okay, he can have one of my daggers, and I still have another one if anybody wants. Or
I can add that to his sheet really quick. Let's go ahead and dagger here. So the club, it's up to you guys who you want to have it. What's the damage on a club? Remind me.
1d4 bludgeoning.
That's no different than Shushar's bite, so it's not going to do a whole lot for him. So you could keep it, or
I'll keep it on the party sheet for now. I mean, I guess I could probably bring it back to my sheet and just use it as like an impromptu thrown weapon if I can throw it.
Yeah, I mean that's not impossible.
Sure, I'll go ahead and I'll take it back then for now.
So what are you guys thinking in terms of food?
We have 10 pounds. That's enough for all of us for a day, I think.
Are you going to eat that, or are you using something else?
Well, I could have used, I don't know, whatever you guys want. I could use Goodberry before we go to sleep. And we got water for a day, so I don't need to use a spell for that.
Yeah, might as well, right?
I'm good with that.
Sounds good.
yeah.
Okay.
And before we go to sleep, should we perhaps have watches over our sleeping time? That way, no more creepy crawlies come upon us unaware.
Not a bad idea.
I can take a watch.
So I will take the first watch. Perhaps if we have 2 people taking a watch at a time, one on one end of the tunnel, one on the other, close to the group. That way, if anything were to happen, we would all be within earshot to warn each other.
Makes sense.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
And we can pull that off, right, Tony? Like we still got a long
absolutely.
rest.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
actually rolled into it. How it's going to work, so you guys know, I'm going to have you guys split it up. Probably one NPC, one PC. And who's going to go first, second, third, fourth, and fifth?
I'll take final watch.
Okay.
I'll go first.
second.
Third.
And Kosjurkis gets a 3, 5, and it looks like Rolen, you end up with a 2. Not gonna get too
Okay.
deep into. Not gonna get too deep into it. I thought I heard 2 people say something there, but I might have missed it. But either way, how this will work, we can change it if we need to, if I misunderstood something. But how it'll work is, say something attacks you. So you guys understand the mechanics. Say there's a carrion crawler comes upon you guys in the night. There's a 10-hour rest period. That's 8 hours of rest, eating, 2 hours of eating, clean up, pack up. That's it for eating at night and in the morning. And then everybody gets 8 hours of rest plus a 2-hour watch. I'll roll a d20 or some form of dice to determine whether it's on the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth watch. I'll roll a stealth check for the creature and then compare it to the passive perception of the person on watch. That's how that works. So you guys understand the mechanic. If their stealth beats your passive perception of the person on watch, then they get a surprise round. So there's that.
Is this still a lidded area that we're in?
This is. It is still a lit area.
Sweet.
And everybody has that straightened out. Jim Jar has a dagger now, and he also has sneak attack too. So that's always good. So if he does damage with his dagger, nice 13 points of damage. So we're going to pick up for day 3 here in 5 minutes after a restroom and snack break.
Sounds
All right.
good.
All right. Okay.
All right, guys. Let's see. We're missing one. I'm offering inspiration to any player who comes and shovels my driveway for me. I missed like some iced up spots.
Not happening.
Well, considering I'm about like what 1,000 miles away from you.
Now they want to go.
Where are you at?
St. Louis, Missouri.
That's not 1,000 miles. That's 2 hours, maybe 3. Maybe 3.
Yeah, I think you're technically closest at that point, Ben.
Considering how cold it is outside, it feels like 1,000 miles.
It's 14 degrees. The cat's on our front porch, Tasha. So we got this cat, right? With the house we lived in before, we lived literally the place that lived. She's taking the animals out, so I told her we'll take an extra minute or two. We had a cemetery plot that lived behind us, and they had rats. We had like people that come out and treat our house, but we moved, and so we have this neighbor's cat. And I pulled in the driveway like our second or third week here, and like I pulled in the driveway and I saw a mouse sprint across my driveway, and right behind him is this gray cat who catches him like 20 feet on the left side of my car, looks me in the eye, and then breaks his fucking neck.
Ice cold.
I assume he ate him, but. And then he just went on about his business, and he comes over to our house and sleeps on our swing on our front porch. And it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. But like he ran that bitch down. Ran him down.
Nice.
Like a dog.
Sounds like a good cat.
That's what I'm saying. We can always see his little footprints in the snow.
Kind of curious how my cousin's cat would be able to like chase down mice. I don't know. I hadn't seen any mice around the general area as it is.
I need to add a
she
couple.
decides she wants to come in over and love on me.
So, how was your guys' week?
I had a bunch of people out looking at my furnace. One person it was mainly just for routine maintenance. And he takes a look at it and he says, this machine is very, very dirty. Just lots of caked on dust. We can go ahead and clean it out and put everything back in. But I'm going to have to put it in kind of in a different way for like easier access. Because the way you got things set up here with the walls and everything set up, it's not optimal to reach in and get everything. That's going to be like a $3,000 job, but honestly, with the way that your system is, it's like 12 years old at least, possibly even older. I really recommend going ahead and upgrading. We can go ahead and take care of your furnace, we could take care of your water heater, we could take care of your air conditioning, we could all do it in a single day. Cost you about maybe $13,000 to do that. I'm like, yeah, no, let's hold off on that for right now. Then the
Do you
asshole
take
left, and
IOUs?
but here's the thing: he left, and he didn't turn the gas valve back on. And I thought that there was something else wrong with the furnace. Actually had to call another guy out for like a separate $80 service call to find something that had I known what to look for, I could have fixed it myself for free.
That's rude.
So yeah, any goodwill that company had for like trying to upgrade the system, hell with them. I'm not gonna go with them anymore. So, but I have actually gotten like 2 or 3 other people out to the house to take a look at the furnace, just to give me bids on like how much it would be to upgrade the furnace and stuff. Because I honestly don't know how old the system is, because the same furnace that's been in the house has been in here since my family and I moved back here back in 2007. So it at least is around 12 years old, possibly even older. So it would be a good idea to upgrade. But I have somebody else coming out to the house tomorrow, and from there I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe make my decision. So
That sucks. Furnaces are always expensive to replace.
yeah.
Well, we got an hour left. You guys have managed to make it through 2 days of travel. You guys ready to keep going?
Yeah,
Yep.
let's keep rolling.
Outstanding.
Let's do that.
So we have about a short half-mile distance before you return to pitch black tunnels, which reduces your ability to travel down to normal or slow.
Let's keep going normal. And before we we've already had the fight from the carrion crawler basically cover our tracks as it was, right?
Correct.
All right, we don't have to worry about that then. Okay, let's just keep up the pace. Let's keep doing normal.
Okay. So is that cool with everybody?
Works for me.
You guys
That's
have put a good distance behind you. You cut a rope bridge. You covered your tracks pretty well. You had a cave in, and so next is foraging. You have 10 days, 10 pounds of food, 10 gallons of water, which is 1 day's worth of food. So do you guys want to do any foraging today?
I'm almost tempted to try again for Zerkwood. Good Zerkwood this time. I'm gonna get me my quarterstaff one way or the other.
Go for it. I'll hold down the fort.
Sweet.
And I tell you what, how about this? Smoke will go with you, and you give me advantage on the roll, and we'll see what we can find.
Sounds good to me.
Because I got the higher
makes
modifier.
the dream work.
I got the higher modifier, right? Plus
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, +4 versus my +3.
Cool.
All right.
Nice.
Wow.
Anybody going out for food? Alrighty. Take that as a no. Let's see that survival roll to find some Zerkwood.
He already dropped it.
Just checked. You find a large amount of Zerkwood. This area is you found actually a cavern with 2 or 3 large ones. We'll do the check in a minute. And for the rest of you, I'm going to need a survival check. Rolen, you unfortunately can't provide that this time.
Yep.
Do we get this one at advantage?
Yes, you'll get all these at advantage as long as you are on good terms with Sereth. Or at least mutual terms with Sereth. Boom.
Woo!
Damn!
Look at these people. This is ridiculous. Let's see. We got an 18 and a 23. And that natural 20 is going to push you back extra miles covered. And that's going to put you quickly. And let's see. Doing pretty good. as you are traveling, for the rest of you, for all of you actually, you lose the light of the Pharisee behind you, and you are now starting to travel down cracked tunnels. The cracked tunnels travel for about a mile before they start to give way to very smooth tunnel as the light is fading. You move forward throughout the day, and as you start to see signs of webbing, large webbing, various signs of occasionally a desiccated arm that looks like it's had all the fluid drained out of it. The webs look old. They're decayed. They're falling apart, and the side tunnels start to become rarer and rarer. When you guys stop for a break, Sereth kind of sits off to the side and falls asleep. When you guys start to try and get up from lunch break and move along, Sereth cannot be woken. So we're going to deal with that here in a minute. For those of you with the Zerkwood, I'm going to need a nature check.
All right.
Yeah. With advantage, go ahead. Or maybe that should be me. Maybe that should be me.
Yeah.
-1. Ouch.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why he came back with a club.
Can he still give me advantage or no?
He can, yes.
All right. Though maybe we should have gone with yours in the first place, but oh well.
So you guys do manage to get away with the 10 being the DC. You carve out a quarterstaff, and if you want to spend more time, you can try to carve out a club or two.
I think we're good, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a quarterstaff. I will stick it right on the party sheet for you to move where you want. That'll just be easiest. Now back at the let me scoot this over. Back at the lunch break, Sereth the drow is not waking up. You guys call his name, he doesn't wake up. You guys kind of make some loud noises at him and he doesn't wake up. Spirit and Agile are not here. I think I'm going to start calling you Smoke as well. A little easier, rolls off the tongue easier.
Yeah, sounds good.
So what do you guys want to do?
It's almost too bad I'm not there. I could probably maybe see about hitting him with the stick. Get up!
Kosjurkis, you want to give him a little smack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, I'll let him down.
So you head over and you give him a smack. Give me. You're not trying to hurt him, right? You just give him a good old smack.
Yeah, just like you would wake up a person with like a little slap. Like it's a lot of little slaps to the face.
Smack.
Standing on his chest.
Fair enough. And you.
This is probably gonna get me killed.
His eyes fly open when you smack him.
Mm-hmm.
And he lets out a blood-curdling scream, and extremely loud, and his eyes fly extremely wide, and the words, as he starts to jump to his feet, he doesn't smack at you or try to hurt you, Kosjurkis. He grabs his head, and he starts trying to form words, and it's half gibberish, and you make out words: infection, my mind, no, before he falls back onto the ground, not asleep. It takes maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and he shakes his head, and he looks around in a more lucid, aware form and fashion, and almost in a nonchalant way, he kind of stands up, dusts off his clothes, picks up his stuff, and then doesn't say a word to anybody about it. Almost as if he doesn't know it happened, or he's acting as if it didn't happen.
I just want to say that the moment he started to yell, Kosjurkis leapt off of him and scuttled behind the nearest rock to hide.
Fair enough. It didn't last very long. It didn't really have time for anybody to really react.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave you time to run away.
Yeah, he just dove behind the nearest large object.
The nearest large object or player.
Or person, or alternatively.
Okay. Sereth doesn't answer any questions. He doesn't respond to anybody. He just ignores any questions about it. And if he just kind of waits on everybody to get ready to go.
Uh-huh.
Anything else from anybody, or are you guys just ready to head off?
I'm good to go.
Okay. So you guys head off. Smoke and Spirit rejoin the party. There's nobody really going out for food. I'd say about the last half mile, or for the remainder after lunch, Stool just starts talking a little bit more to Kosjurkis and Ophelia. He starts telling everybody, but specifically you guys, about his home, Neverlight Grove. It is a colony of myconids, people, mushroom entities like him. He says it is a glorious place for myconids. It has been unchanged for hundreds and hundreds of years because it is hidden and separate from the Underdark, and he regales you with stories of mushroom groves tended by myconids throughout the ages, unending toil, unending peace. It seems like a very monastic, peaceful, farming-like lifestyle, but he does definitely just more wistful in his explanation of Neverlight Grove. And as you guys are traveling, he's more just talking out loud. About the last half mile of your day, though, you guys discover a large collection of webs as opposed to the manner in which they've been just kind of hodgepodge and decayed. In addition to that, the tunnels seem to be showing more and more webs, and the side tunnels and the chutes are becoming fewer and fewer, to the point where you guys are seeing side tunnels maybe once every mile instead of once every eighth of a mile. So there's many fewer. And as you guys are passing this collection of webs off to the side in a little nook, you notice there are 3 cocoons that are like in the middle of those webs. And one of them seems to be quivering.
Oh, good.
You got another half mile to go, so you can keep going or stop. It's up to you.
Worth it? Question mark?
We should definitely not go near that.
I repeat what I just said, but in undercomment, I don't like the looks of this.
There could be people who need help. How big are the cocoons?
Medium size, small. Looks like one's smaller than the others. The one that's quivering is a smaller one. The other 2 are medium size.
Poke with stick?
To say, I have my claws, I could probably slice through that.
I think we should not touch this. No.
Just on the off chance there'd be something mean and nasty in that thing.
I mean, there hasn't been really any goodness down here.
I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, that's a very healthy concern to have.
I entirely agree with this concern. What I will remind us is that our friend Indomitable Spirit has lost family down here. If the spiders or whatever made these webs captured them and have cocooned them, that could in fact be them right there.
And with that, I waste no time slicing open the small one.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Okay, so you slice open the small one, and out pops, almost right away, a halfling.
Oh, okay.
And he is, I'm sorry, my apologies, a deep gnome, like Jim Jar, a Svirfneblin. And his eyes are wide, his left hand appears to have been chewed on, and he has blood around his mouth, having apparently been chewing on something.
Uh-oh.
And he jumps out, and as he takes a look around you, he looks at the closest person and goes, "Mah!" And then he has apparently some actual gear. He looks like he's been traveling recently. He couldn't have been in there too long. He's got a traveler's pack, and he has a number of pouches. He doesn't have any weapon that you can see, and he looks directly at Spirit after he screams and says a number of words in a language that doesn't make sense. And then when you don't respond, he looks at you and goes, "Mah!" and starts chewing on his hand. Like chewing, not just nibbling.
We should give him some food.
Jim Jar?
Jim Jar throws up his hands and he says, I don't know anything about that. And at the same time, the little Svirfneblin looks at Jim Jar and goes, "Ah!" and then takes off at a run in the opposite direction. The one you guys just came from.
Well, that happened.
Are we letting him run or?
Are you? You tell me. He's
I'm
a
not
halfling.
moving,
Not like you guys can't run him down. Like that cat next door.
You let that little monster out.
Well, he didn't attack us. So. I mean, I suppose I could probably chase him down. I've got the best movement speed out of all of us, I think.
Yeah, I guess like if Spirit goes after him, Smoke will keep up with Spirit and we'll run him down and just try and knock him out or something.
Yeah, at least knock him unconscious, yeah.
Okay, so you run him down and knock him out. Is that what I understood?
Make
his stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so you run him down and you hit him in the back of the head with your staff, and he goes sprawling onto the ground, unconscious, his hand slowly oozing blood onto the stone, and his mouth slowly oozing blood from chewing on his hand onto the stone.
Is there two things I'm looking for? One, does he have anything of particular interest on him?
So you're searching him?
Yeah, and then two, does he have any bite marks or sting marks or And like looks like maybe he's been crazed by some type of poison or something.
Fungal growths, perhaps.
Sure.
No,
Does
he doesn't.
have eyes?
He does have eyes. No, he does not have any bites or stings. And in the search of him, in his pouch, you find 4 pounds of fungus bread, a series of water skins that hold right around 4 gallons of water,
Mm-hmm.
2 potions of healing.
What?
If you will add kindly the food and water, if you're taking it, I'm not telling you, but if you are, add it. I'm not going to put it anywhere. But you find 2 potions of healing, a hand crossbow with 7 crossbow bolts, unpoisoned,
Fuck. Yeah.
and a very strange looking rolled up piece of paper. It looks like it's on some type of flesh in place of paper.
Oh.
Ooh, I want that.
Wait, hold on.
I want it.
So and last but not least, you have some really odd looking rods. Give me a second. I'm going to get you a picture of them.
I want all of those things.
How much food was it?
4 pounds. If you're taking them,
I'll just write it down just so.
Yeah, well,
just in case.
So like
He
like
knows us so well.
let's drag this guy back. And then or like I meet up with the group. And then I'm taking everything. I'll give the food and I'll give the water and everything to Roland if that's how we're playing it. And I'll just say like we'll just hold on to this stuff until he is back to a appropriate state of mind, no?
Maybe we should restrain him in case he decides to like start chewing on himself again, or worse, come after us.
So this is a picture of the rods. There's 2 of them. They look like that. And if you notice off to the bottom left, they have a little
Dowsing rods.
button.
I think I know what these are, guys.
A little button that you can push
Push
towards.
I think I know.
Who's gonna touch the button?
Oh, Kosjurkis will take those and push the button.
Touch the button. You haven't seen Finding Nemo. No one likes you.
Seeing Kosjurkis go to start interacting with these rods, Smoker's going to take about like a 30-step or 20-foot step back. Give
Just
him some
really
space.
one big ol' step.
Just give him some space, you know?
Rolen can't see anything, so he's just going to stay where he is.
Say, I'll actually back up and I'll just kind of place my hand on Roland's shoulder and be like, "Yeah, sweetie, we might want to back up a bit."
All right.
Okay, so the
Button push.
rod, you push it, and when you push it, it takes it's an action. So however you're holding it, I don't know how you're holding it, long-wise, facing up and down, side to side,
I think
whatever.
like holding it like upright and then just putting a hand on top of it.
So when you push the button, it like stops allowing you to move it. It's locked in place.
I knew it.
It is like it is glued to the air. So like you try to pull it, you can't pull it, you can't push it. Up, down, left, right, it doesn't move. It is immovable.
It's stuck. He pushes the button again
And now you can move it.
and
Ooh.
just starts screeching in Draconic.
Oh, it's fascinating, no?
I say Spirit's like trying to rack her brain. She's like, she's heard of this object. She's trying to recall what it is.
It's a good point. Have we ever heard of these objects, Tony?
I'm going to do a group intelligence check, which you guys don't have to do anything. I'm going to roll it. Intelligence. we go. So Indomitable Spirit and Ophelia and Smoke. You've all heard of them before. They are immovable rods.
How many of them is there?
There are 2.
All right. My last question, before we start dealing them out, how common are these in like the above world, the surface world, the above world?
They're not common. We'll say they're uncommon. They're not rare.
If they had
They're
an
not-
item rating, would they be?
They're not rare. They're not common. Let's just call them uncommon, hypothetically. Let's just use that title.
So they're
Right.
like maybe like a green.
Sure, and they wouldn't be in like nobody would have one on display in, let's say, like a museum or something, right? Like they're somewhat common, at least in that sense, where like yeah, okay, never mind. I think I answered my own question.
It's
I
less
vastly
common than
prefer-
common, more common than rare.
There you go. Here's another picture of him. This is a fancy one. That's not what these look like, but
Yeah.
so before I start adding this stuff, like healing potions and stuff, can we get are you officially robbing him? Am I adding this stuff?
No.
Or-
We're not robbing him. We're just
okay.
taking
What
the
do-
stuff. We're just taking the stuff
You're just taking
and
his shit
keeping
without
it
his permission?
and keeping it safe because he's clearly not in the right state of mind. And once he's back to being civil, then we'll give it back.
Right.
Maybe.
So who defines civil?
The people who with his shit, apparently.
Maybe. Well, I mean, like him and Jim Jar are of the same race, right? So, like, if Jim Jar is like, this guy's fucking nuts.
So all of a sudden we're friends?
Hey, yeah. All I know is that Smoke and Spirit get along pretty well, So
That's pretty racist, bro.
the fucking guy's eating his head. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
So
hey,
crazy people can't own shit. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Nobody takes them away from makes like an attempt to take them away from Kosjurkis. He starts like he holds on to the rods.
He claims them.
These are his now. Gonna climb so much shit, it's gonna be great.
I mean, I'm good with him like not attacking us, but I mean, like, if he's chewing on his own hands and just resorting to just nothing but screeches, then yeah, he's kind of touched in his head.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Smoke's taken the hand crossbow and the bolts. Didn't want him to hurt himself, no?
It's all on the party sheet. All the shit you just stole from a mentally handicapped person.
Probably shouldn't have those things in the first place.
I'm almost tempted just to force one of those potions of healing down his throat to see if that might, maybe, clear what the heck is up with his head.
That could be a good idea.
If nothing else, it'll at least maybe heal up his hands.
If you hold shift when you drag it, you get them all.
Thank you. Too late. Thank you.
But I saw you were down to 1. But for future reference,
Right.
I'll take this crossbow bolt, and this crossbow bolt, and this
1,
crossbow bolt.
2.
alrighty. So there's 2 healing potions left, and an unconscious Svirfneblin missing some fingers. Well, I'm missing, digesting some fingers. And what's your plan?
Should we perhaps some of us take care of this gentleman? Others check the other 2 bodies. Also, hard to say, but perhaps in touching the webs, the spiders, they may be coming.
These are this area of webbing is often a niche that's not like connected to a chain of webs. It's just this area is web.
Oh. But nonetheless, the spiders might be coming back for lunch.
I'm gonna do my best to stop his bleeding and wrap up his hand.
Okay.
Are the webs like sticky to the touch?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, everybody knows if you knock down a spider web, it can't get back home. So maybe we should just chop them all off so that they can't come back.
If nothing else, it would at least serve to prevent them from ambushing us.
We could also collect spider silk.
That very may be true. We could probably use that.
So start with the other 2 cocoons and work from there, yeah?
I
Somebody
just
could make
nodded,
a
but
bow.
I realized that I can't see that.
You know, I was thinking of making a bow at some point. You know, if we get enough Zerkwood.
Make Zerkwood and spider silk bow.
Yeah.
The arrows just get stuck to the bowstring.
Yep.
So if somebody's willing to cut open the other cocoons, Smoke will have the hand crossbow loaded and just kind of like aiming it at the cocoon so that if something were to jump out and provide hostile intent, he'd shoot it.
Sure, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. Use my claws and snippy snip. Or as best I can, anyway.
Okay. You cut them free, and inside, both of them, you find 2 dead drow soldiers. They are not armed. They are wearing armor, but it's been obliterated by something puncturing it in pairs of 2 from the outside. Both of them are desiccated. You can take a guess at what happened, or you can do a nature check to figure out if you know what happened.
I have my suspicions.
Can I do one even though I can't see?
No.
Just like based on what they're saying?
Oh, yes. You can do a knowledge check based off it, yes, sir.
Oh, I was going to do a nature check. Okay.
That's what I mean, a knowledge of nature check.
Oh, I
It used
failed
to
anyways.
be a skill called Knowledge Nature.
Oh.
Nah, they
Failed
just
anyways.
knowledge. You do not know.
And that's checking the bodies too.
Yes, and so as far as you guys can tell, there is no. For the nature checks I've got, you guys don't know what happened to them. But I will say this. Yeah, they were drained of their juices by spiders.
Ugh.
Hooray!
Rolen, you are able to, since you were a little distracted tending to the half or the sphere of nebulae, but they were drained of their juices by spiders. So, lastly, this is the map. I don't know if I shared that with you. I don't remember.
Let's say I got it shared. Just out of curiosity, those drow, were they both male, female?
Both male.
Both male. Okay. That just kind of feeds a little bit into more suspicion, but I can't make any sort of actual judgment call. I speak up, I say, I remember hearing stories of the drow. Specifically, there was stories about how male drow can be transformed into half drow, half spiders called driders. We might want to keep an eye out for anything of that nature, because if there's spider webs in the area, we might be facing those.
This is good to know.
Thanks, I hate it.
Thanks. I hate that I know that.
Sarith, do you happen to recognize these 2 drow?
He shakes his head. Negative, he does not.
But
so all drow know each other.
Well,
So now all
no.
Sphere of Nebulae know each other. Now all drow know. What the?
But clearly these 2 were not from Velken. Am I saying that right? Velkenvelye?
Not that he's aware of.
Would there be reason for drow to be in this area if they were not Velkenvelye. To your knowledge, of course.
Well, you're heading in the general direction of Menzo. As best he understood, Velkenvelye's resupply caravan was a couple days overdue when you guys made your escape.
Interesting. All right. Are we proceeding with cutting down the webs and harvesting what we can, or are we continuing on our way?
I mean, if we can make bows out of these, I see no reason not to at least harvest some of this web.
We could use the webs to tie up the guy that we have, so when he comes to, he's not persnickety.
Both fantastic ideas. Is this a survival check?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Would somebody like to assist me?
I will do that.
You managed to collect 50 feet of silk rope.
Nice.
And I think we'll use this in a sec. But as a general question, what do you have us do for like tying up knots? Is that
Dexterity check.
Straight dexterity?
Yes, sir.
So Agile will walk over and start tying up, like not in any type of like painful way, but like hands behind the back.
Hog time.
But then we gotta. Well, we're gonna carry him anyways. But do we need to tie his legs up? Yeah.
Might not hurt.
All right. So I'll try and hog time.
Spirit just kind of involuntarily shivers as she watches.
All right, give me a dexterity save.
Dexterity save, or just?
I'm sorry, check.
Right. Oh.
Okay. I'll put the escape DC is 4. And you know what they say: the player knows they screwed it up. The character doesn't always.
No. Agile's never done this before, but he feels pretty good about it.
I feel solid.
Yeah. Like it's like he knows that like all the body parts got to be attached, right? So like some of the fingers are
and
intertwined.
It's sticky. So how good do you got to be?
Yeah, like he's not. There's no way he's breaking it. There's no way.
He's clearly. All right. You guys travel the rest of the way after you get your rope. Is that my understanding?
God damn it, Ben.
I regret nothing.
That's just nasty. Here's a good visualization of the tunnels for about your last half mile for the day. Missing, of course, the loot here and there, but it's just a general visualization.
Including the spider?
Yeah,
Not including the spider or the loot. It's just the tunnels themselves are becoming choked with webs.
Hooray!
Yay! I wish I didn't know this.
I still have my tinderbox. I could probably set fire to this whole thing.
While we're inside of it?
Good point.
The smoke inhalation alone.
I feel like we could walk away from this.
But this is the way we have to go.
Let's just set it on fire, huddle in a corner, put a wet towel over our faces, our whole bodies actually. And I think...
Should we perhaps travel at a slightly slower pace to attempt to be more stealthy in case there are spiders or whatnot about?
Could be pretty smart.
I'm okay with whatever. I'm very easygoing.
Well, I will say this. You guys don't have a lot more to do today, so you can work that out for tomorrow. The one thing that does happen is once you guys settle down for the night, I need to know, number one, are you feeding... Well, we'll deal with him in a minute. How are you feeding yourselves? Nobody? Are you eating Goodberry and Create Water?
Yeah, might as well.
I do want it mentioned. You guys haven't been attacked at night. I'm not saying you are going to be. It's actually just a roll system. It's completely based off the dice roll. You may never get attacked or never get attacked at night. If you are, those spells used are gone.
Right.
So you're down 2 spells. Just so we're clear. I don't want anybody to be surprised. But, he can turn into a tiger too, so that helps. And about an hour after you guys start to kind of settle down, right as everybody's about to go to sleep, everybody is shocked by this loud echoing noise coming from over by the Sphere of Nebly. He just starts going, just making this screaming noise, struggling to the best of his ability. He is just screaming and screaming and screaming.
Gag with the spider webs.
Gag with a spider web.
Can I make a gag check?
Well,
I'd make a very 90s
second.
reference, but I'm not going to.
Well, give me 1 second. Let's see. Shocker. He gets out of the ropes.
What?
And his as you guys are kind of debating on gagging him, he shuffles his shoulders and starts and gets out of them and takes off at a run. Running towards the way you're going this time, not the way you were coming from. And you can hear him screaming down the tunnel.
Agile looks at Spirit and says, should we go get him?
Well, if he's running in the direction we're going... tempted to, but at the same time, I'm also kind of tempted to see what sort of nasty traps he triggers for us.
That's a pretty evil thing to say.
So
like out of character, that's fucking rough, bro.
Yeah, let's go get him.
Smoke's chasing. Yeah, Smoke's chasing him.
Yeah, I follow. I follow.
So he's running like full fucking tilt. And you're gonna chase him, right?
Yeah, we might as well. We don't want to see him hurt any more than he already is.
So if he seems to be going faster than you might normally think or whatever, then
no, you guys can catch him.
Yeah, especially with our cat-like reflexes, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, so sprint him down, try and knock him out again.
You guys knock him out again.
Carry him back and say, maybe somebody else is to tie the knots, and how about we gag him this time as well? This poor fellow, many wrong things with him, I am sure.
Did we potion of healing him yet, or no?
No.
If he didn't have one before, if he certainly didn't need one before, he certainly needs one now. Now with 2 lumps on his head.
I am not sure if a potion of healing would help him. Are we sure? I mean, if he had the potion, would he not have already used it?
Well, I mean, it can't hurt.
You do bring up a good point, though.
It is true. It can't. It is a healing potion. It does not hurt you. Yes, but perhaps he could be saved. Perhaps there is something else we could do to him to perhaps perhaps give him a massage or sing him a lullaby.
This is why you're not allowed to tie the ropes anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not tie ropes.
Well, I'll try my hand at tying him up.
Fuck.
I don't do any better, damn it!
You both are gonna lose your rope privileges.
Goddamn Tabaxi.
Didn't you learn anything on your honeymoon?
Maybe something's telling you guys that you're bad people.
I mean, he is the girl. Was he the one being tied up, or?
I'm gonna leave that to your imagination.
Okay. So, you guys knocked him unconscious.
Well, so yeah, if we think we have him secured, I guess I'll say it in character. Like, maybe we give him the potion, sure, but like, what do we do with this fellow?
I hate to leave him, but at the same time, we can't bring him with us. If he's just gonna keep struggling and screaming, then he's just gonna call attention to us.
Well, we could keep him tied up and gagged and feed him and bring him until we get to a location within which he can receive the medical attention he needs. It is a burden, yes, but if it was you, would you not want us to bring you?
Well, truthfully, in this sort of scenario, I wouldn't mind if you guys just left me for dead. I wouldn't expect any otherwise, in this sort of unforgiving nature, but yes, I would appreciate it.
He's a cold-hearted snake.
At which point, Smoke's gonna look at Sereth and say, Sereth, what do you suggest? Being our guide.
Cut his throat.
Right, so we do the opposite of what Sereth says, no?
He's a burden. He's going to reveal our location, if not to the hunting party chasing us, to whatever is ahead. If he wakes up in the middle of the night, he's going to draw down every monster around. You're going to lose all of our lives trying to save one life. It's not even complicated. He pulls out his dagger. He said, I'll do it if you lack the stomach.
Crossbow, or hand crossbows in hand. No, I do not think it is a matter of stomachs or not, It is a matter of, if we wanted to act like a drow, then we would not have left that compound.
He shrugs.
While speaking to a drow.
He shrugs, puts his dagger up. He says, it's your life.
Does anyone who is not a drow have an idea?
The most racist ask.
Try healing of potion. Maybe that will help him.
She's only said that like 5 times.
I mean, they're his anyway. I'm just saying, maybe one will help. Maybe it won't.
You don't want to waste his shit on him.
Who has potions?
They're on the party sheet.
What?
They're just nebulously existing, floating in the air around us.
It doesn't even specifically say potion of healing. It just says potion.
It probably needs identified.
Yeah.
I can try and use detect magic on him and see if he's hexed or something.
That's a good point. Maybe there might be like some sort of infection or something that he might be.
Well, if it's a disease, I won't be able to detect it. If it's magic, I will be.
Okay, yeah.
But that's spell slots we're using then, right?
Nah, that's racial trait.
Oh, is it? Oh, interesting.
He's fancy.
I am super fancy.
So no harm, right?
Yeah, I can cast that.
All right.
All right.
He is showing, aside from the magic items you guys stole from him, he has no magic items or magical essence about him.
Okay, there's nothing.
Okay.
Give him a potion.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I mean,
his mind might be lost.
Yeah, let's try the potion, and if bless you, if he still doesn't, clear up or anything, at this point, I hate to say it, but I think we might have to just let him go, and I mean, I'm not saying that because I don't want to be evil or anything. I'm just saying this from like a trying to be practical about this. As cold-hearted as it is, I will admit, Sereth does have a good point.
Well, could we not tie him up? Perhaps not me, of course, but could we not perhaps just tie him up and carry him about until we get to Shimshar's land, his village, and perhaps someone there will have the means of truly helping him, no?
If we can keep him restrained, I don't see a problem with it.
Well, let's try. Somebody try the potion.
All right, I'll delete one potion off of the party sheet.
And somebody double check the ropes because I can't.
Yeah, I was.
So you pour a healing potion down his throat. He is still unconscious, but his bleeding hand and all the chew marks heal. He still doesn't have fingers. He chewed those off, but you guys will just have to wait until he wakes up, unless you try to wake him up.
Well, we might as well wake him up at this point, no?
Okay. You wake him up, and he is tied and gagged, and he kind of looks around, and then he starts screaming again. But except he has gag on, so it's less loud and more. It's still loud in the Underdark, but it's not as loud. At which point he struggles against the ropes, gets loose, rips out his gag, screams again, and starts running. Or trying to run. You guys are all around him. You could stop him. You don't have to chase him down again. Or you could let him go. Whatever.
I had to say, I already chased him down twice. I ain't bothering doing him a third time. Say he ain't my kid. I don't really care.
Damn.
I'm gonna try and whack him over the head, like back into the dagger as he goes by me.
Okay, you knock him back down. He goes back out. And that seems like a good place to stop the game for the day.
I just want to point out that we're probably not helping his mental condition by giving him a concussion.
Maybe I should change my alignment from neutral good to just plain neutral.
Is that what you thought? Because we thought something else.
You're slipping towards evil, my man.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is when your sentence includes the phrase "maybe Sereth's right," you might want to look at.
I didn't say he was right. I said he had a good point.
Well, I feel like it's close enough.
So, just the last thing, if we're gonna camp out here, is I would ask Kosjurkis for one of the immovable rods.
Yes.
Try and make sure this guy's gagged, but then I would put the immovable rod not pressed up against his chest, but just a centimeter above his chest, in such a way that if he tries to move, it's got him pinned, and I'll lock it in place.
Oh, we could
good idea.
We could do to make a cross little prison thing, and then he just can't get out.
No, that's a cool idea. Yeah, yep.
So he is immovable, rodded against the ground, and
gagged.
And gagged. And let me tell you, those immovable rods, you ain't getting the fuck up.
All right.
I think they take a strength check. Let's see. Immovable rod, they should be identified. If they're not, I will identify them. There we go. 8,000 pounds or a strength check of 30 or higher to move it 10 feet.
Damn.
So you can only move a fixed rod up to 10 feet if you succeed on that check.
Yeah, then only go.
So I'll tell you guys what. If he pushes those off and runs away, I think he's fine. I think we'll let him go.
He's earned it.
Yeah.
He earned it.
It's funny because they count as an arcane focus, apparently.
Really?
They do count as an arcane focus, meaning that you could hold one, or Ophelia could hold one, and you guys would no longer need material spell components.
Is a component pouch a endless resource, or does it have to be?
In essence, no.
Okay.
It's presumed to be endless. The presumption is things like that. A rest at night is technically 10 hours, and it's a series of 2-hour shifts, an hour on each side to eat and read your spell book, do your prayers, gather your spell components. That's where all that stuff gets filled in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So That'll be it for this week. I'll let you guys know for certain, but I'm pretty sure next week we're probably going to be heavily considering a move to Saturday, but I'll work out the details with you guys between now and then.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good game, guys. Good first travel in the Underdark.
We did it.
Indeed, good job, everybody.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with how good you guys did with those rolls. Those 20 on survival.
Double 20s.
I think I might have interrupted you, Tasha. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying good game.
All right. Beat up somebody who's mentally retarded, took his shit. All right. Let's end the game on a high note. Catch you guys next week.
See ya.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
All right, take care, everyone.
Yeah, bye.